Hello, Houston. I am so happy to be here today, surrounded by beautiful and amazing Black women. Your magic is truly revolutionary. And, you know, it's our dedication and our magic that is so needed at this time in our country where, our communities and our institutions are under attack and under assault from all sides. As I stand here today, we're a little over a year into the presidency of Donald Trump and Vice President Mike Pence. Don't forget about him. But we're primed. We're just like on the cusp of a blue wave in November. And we're going to make major changes to all levels of our government. And Black women will be the reason for that. But we can't stop just by voting. We can't just vote. We have to demand that people invest resources into our communities and into our campaigns. So you need to donate to these Black women who are running for office. You need to give them your coins. That's what we need to do. So you can't just compliment Black women and say, you're magical. You need to respect our political, social, and economic power. You need to give us your money. You need to give us resources. And you need to make sure that Black women everywhere are safe as we walk through the streets, as we live in our homes, as we go into the workplace. Shortly after Hillary Clinton lost the election in 2016, and I was honored and privileged to work on that campaign, I wrote an essay for a book. The title of the book was Nasty Women: Feminism, Resistance, and Revolution in Trump's America. My essay was called Trust Black Women, just like your shirt right there. I was really angry when I wrote this essay. It was a couple weeks after we lost. But it started like this. Black women tried to save you, America. You didn't want to be saved. 94% of Black women voted for Hillary Clinton in the presidential election, if for no other reason than to keep Donald Trump out of the freaking White House. We tried to save you. And even though there are some good reasons to be skeptical of Hillary Clinton because she represents white feminism, I'm under no illusions. Even though I work for her, I am under no illusions. She actually would have brought meaningful change to Black lives. And you know why? Because she employed Black women like me all up and down and through her campaign, because she truly trusts Black women. At the center of her campaign in policy making, web design, communications, and strategy were Black women like me. From the most junior staffer all the way up to the senior advisors, we were involved in every single aspect of that campaign. And that campaign is representative. That's going to be the next campaign for the next woman who runs for president, for the first Black woman who wins and becomes the first Black woman president. Black women will be behind her and working for her campaign to ensure that she's successful. So listen, Hillary Clinton may represent second wave white feminism, but she attracts and empowers and employed Black women to be successful. So those are just the facts. So instead of just some simple headlines saying that, look at how Black women made sure that Doug Jones won in Alabama, or changed the makeup of the state house in Virginia, we need your resources and investment. We need your time and your volunteer hours. We need a seat at the table, and better than that, we need to be at the head of that table. We need safety and compensation as we work in our communities and we teach our children, and as we walk around in these streets free from harassment. Our freedom is everyone's freedom. Our liberation is inevitable because, nevertheless, we persist. In my view, the true power behind Black girl magic is actually our vulnerability, our resilience, and knowing our history. We are magic, but we are also real. We hurt, we bleed, we cry, we struggle. And we do need support. We need love, and we need sustenance. Sometimes Black girls need a little bit of saving too. Thankfully, the source of our magic is the utmost defiance of our own oppression, the denial of white expectations for us. We will not be limited. those lowered expectations that are projected onto our dreams, we reject that. We know the truth about who we are. And as I stand here today, it's a really hard moment. Everything is a mess. Have you been watching the news? It seems like we are further and further away from the progress that we struggled to meet for the last 8 years under the Obamas and the many decades before that. But we also know the truth. It's been worse than it is right now. And we know that women who look like me have lived through a lot worse than this. And in the end, that's what true progress is. With each and every disappointment comes a lesson. We can either curl up in a ball and refuse to engage, or we can be the teachers in the society. We can be the presidents, and we can lead this nation towards a more progressive and inclusive future. Black women have always been doing it. We know how to organize. We know how to fight back. We know how to create transformational change. One of the most powerful quotes I've ever heard in my life is by Rosa Parks. She said, "I would rather be lynched than live to be mistreated and not be allowed to say I don't like it." Rosa Parks is our foremother. We learn from her wisdom and her guidance, and we will let it guide our steps now. I know I let her words and truth guide my work every single day, in politics and in the media, and also through my advocacy for survivors of sexual violence. Rosa Parks went to Alabama, not just to sit down on the bus. Did you know that she was there to advocate on behalf of Black women who had experienced gang rape in the South? She's my foremother. We stand here on the weekend right before the Oscars, in the middle of Me Too and Time's Up. We're standing in a moment of transformational and cultural change. And it's about damn time. We're going to shape our own futures. As Shirley Chisholm said, you don't make progress by standing on the sidelines, whimpering and complaining. You make progress by implementing ideas, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to push for progress, and we won't let up till it's done, right? I became an advocate out of necessity. I'm a survivor of sexual assault, and I experienced victim blaming firsthand. I began to recognize the ways in which the responses to someone who has the courage to speak up and tell their truth are sometimes just as painful as the assault itself. I began to write and tweet, that's true, about my experience in order to change the public conversation in public and online. Survivors have been speaking out this entire time. It didn't start with Me Too. It's only at this moment when we as a society have decided to finally listen. Survivors are being believed, and that's a great thing. It's important to know that you aren't alone. Through hashtags and cable news debates and articles, we've all tried to use any platform that we have to repeat the message over and over again. We need to engage men in this conversation about violence prevention, and we need to stop blaming victims for what someone else chose to do to them. That work, alongside the work of many other advocates, Black women like me, Tarana Burke, Joanne Smith, Salamisha Tillett, shifted the conversation, and we are in this moment because of their foresight and dedication. And here is the point in which I quote from an episode of Sean Hannity, which is weird, I know. Well, not Hannity himself, but me on Sean Hannity in 2013. They brought me on to debate whether giving every woman a gun would prevent sexual assault. Hannity argued that giving women guns is rape prevention. I disagreed. In the segment, I said, I think this entire conversation is wrong. I don't want anybody telling women anything. I don't want men telling me what to wear, how to act, and not to drink. And I don't want you to tell me that I needed a gun in order to prevent my rape. No woman needs a gun in order to prevent their own rape. In my case, don't tell me if I'd only had a gun, I wouldn't have been raped. Don't put the responsibility on me to prevent my own rape. My point being that the victim blaming machine that tells women that they should be ashamed after being victimized, and that they should reflect on what they could have done to prevent their own rape, including the thought, if I had only had a gun, is called victim blaming. It's harmful to survivors, both because it blames them for their own assaults and also gives women who don't have a gun, or who never wear short skirts, or who never drink, a false sense of security. Because it's not about them, it's about the choices of the perpetrators. The only real rape prevention is to stop rapes before they happen by training young people, particularly men, to not rape in the first place. Doesn't that make sense? Obvious. This can be done by teaching all young people a number of things in basic sex education classes, doing it as early as possible, including, but of course not limited to, what constitutes legal consent, bystander intervention, and ensuring that we are never blaming people who have been victimized. Will that end all rape forever? No. But it will make the world safer for everyone. What we've been doing since the beginning of time has not worked. And we've just been re-traumatizing survivors. We've been asking them questions and interrogating them instead of the perpetrators. And it's one of the ugliest products of rape culture, and that must end immediately. And as Black women, we know this. The political moment we're in right now is a catalyst for this culture shift. The election of Donald Trump is a catalyst for this culture shift. Because his election reflected a deep-seated misogyny we simply will not tolerate any longer. Black women in particular will not have it any longer. And we vote. Before I go, I'd like to leave you with another one of my favorite Rosa Parks quotes. Clearly, I am a fan. She said, "I would like to be remembered as a person who wanted to be free, so other people would be also free." Black women, let's go get free. Thank you so much, Houston.